Okay guys, so this one will be pretty short, but my goal is that after watching this video, you will not ever make a single app that will not have a chance to make any money. Because look, coding is getting so accessible. Soon your mom will be able to make an app, your grandparents will be able to make an app, and your hairstylist is probably already making an app. So to be more precise, more and more apps are coming out every month, but as building is getting easier, choosing what to build is getting harder. Honestly, I think it's so hard to choose what to build now that actually building a thing is only gonna determine about 20% of your success at most. The rest, 80%, will be choosing what to build. Now, you probably heard phrases like scratch your own itch or solve your own problem, and these things are not wrong, but you're also not completely right when it comes to app building. And look, if you already know what to build or you're building something you're passionate about, you can click off. But if you feel like you can build something and you're ready to build something but you don't know exactly what to build, or maybe you already built a couple of things that didn't make any money, then in this video I'll show you my exact system that I built over the course of months that gets me a list of ideas that have the most of the chance for success, and then challenges them and finally rates them by things that I think matter the most. But now I'm gonna break down the logic behind it. And keep in mind that I taught my Claude code how to do all of this, so I never need to do any of it by hand anymore. And for you, I will leave all the skills down below so you can just upload them to your Claude and get this whole thing going by the end of the day. So in very short, choosing what app to build and finding something that actually has potential is also a problem that is to be solved. So basically, if you can come up with some system of how logically come up with the idea that has traction that you can actually build, you can teach AI how to do that, and it's methodical. It's like any other problem to solve. So what I want to finally have is a big list of ideas that already have traction, and then I let it go through 5 of my pillars. Okay, so to start this whole engine off, what I need first is a big list of ideas that are already proven to have some demand. And now I'll tell you the main 5 spots where those ideas actually come from. So let's look at the screen a bit, and to start off, one of my favorite places is actually YouTube, because there are channels like this one, Starter Story. Maybe you know about it, maybe you don't. It's pretty popular, and what they do is they just interview many different people who built some kind of thing. 90% of the time is some app, or maybe sometimes some kind of service, but usually, yeah, it's like iPhone or web apps. Even you can see here the last 3 videos, guys showing their iPhones. Nothing unethical here, everything is public. There's nothing wrong about copying or maybe just kind of getting inspiration. The smart way to go about this is, of course, I don't watch every video. I wouldn't have time for that, but what I like to do is my Claude code just downloads all of them. It goes through all their transcripts, and because it can get everything, it can get what the idea is about, it can get what kind of app it is, it can usually detail how much money they're making and when they started. So basically it can really kind of understand the growth curve of it as well, not only where it is at this very moment. So this is one of my favorite places. There's also more channels than this one, but this one has already 470 videos. So I think that's enough, especially to begin with. Place number 2, which is SEMrush. So if you know about SEO, SEO can help you to find out, is there any traction about something? Do people search for this kind of term? So for example, imagine you have a friend, or you just heard from someone that someone made an app about that tells girls what color of their hair would suit them the best. I mean, okay, you've got like a first signal that this app might be working because you heard from someone about it, but it doesn't make it true, right? So the second layer you can search is actually SEMrush or Google Keyword Planner. There are different things, but I'll tell you later why I use SEMrush specifically. So I can specifically look for the term, for example, what girls that want to know what color would suit them the best are looking for, and see if there's actually any number of girls actually looking for that. And thing number 2 about it as well is that a lot of apps can be manipulated. For example, the same app could be serviced for just like a different target group for a different market. So because AI is doing all of this and not me, I let AI to find any other gaps in the market or something that maybe I didn't think about, or maybe we can replicate the app but sell it to a very different target audience because we can see that people are Googling for it, right? So now it's a good time to tell that it's not about each place where I try to mine for ideas and then like each pillar that I'm gonna run it through, but it's about aggregating the whole thing. So aggregating the whole data. So for example, it's AI doing it, and I don't need to spend time and maybe make mistakes and look for like really unimportant terms or etc. It can just really find some patterns, some gaps, and then go like let it run through SEMrush and see if people are googling for this or for that. And that's what makes it special, okay? So because AI is best at this, it's best at getting the data, doing the research, and then aggregating all of it. So not to get ahead of myself, the place number 3 is app stores. So places like Sensor Tower and App Figures are really good places as well, because they post all the data publicly about what kind of apps are making money. It's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty accurate. And what I'm also trying to look for, not me, but Claude, but I tell Claude to look for it, is not the apps that are already making the most amount of money. So you don't want to make another Duolingo, right? But you want to see where the growth curve is pretty steep. So for example, maybe someone made a Duolingo for, I don't know, sign language, or maybe how to treat ADHD and stuff like that, because it's a bit more niche. It's not gonna be at the top 10, right? But that's what you want. You want something niche that's growing like crazy, because there's a lot of, maybe there's like a clear pain point there or something like that. Then place number 4, very important, is social media trends. So mainly TikTok trends. So what you wanna look for is hashtags that are really growing and getting a lot of views recently. One very good example that I'm gonna show you is also from Sensor Tower. There's this app called That Girl Become a Clean Girl, and this is how the app looks like. Developers that actually put this app out, they did the whole thing in 48 hours. How? It's because it's nothing new. It's a simple journaling habits app that existed for years and years. But what they noticed is that is a growing hashtag called Clean Girl, and they just turned this very simple app and they just talked to those girls, okay? And so you can see the whole app and aesthetic and then marketing, it just comes to that. So that's why social media trends is very important. And then the last place I'm looking at is forums. So places like Reddit, X has a lot of communities. For example, one of them is Solopreneur on Reddit. Why it's good is because these communities are mostly about people sharing their success, sharing their failures, sharing about their app, and maybe asking for people to review it or giving some feedback. So this is not the best place to look for ideas, but again, because it's AI doing it and not me, let's try to find 1 or 2 diamonds in there as well. There's a lot of communities. You can look for them yourself. You can let Claude run through them. I know that building public community in X is huge, but there are a lot of different communities. Okay, so now we've got a pretty big amount of ideas. I let it run now, and I've got a bit over 500 of ideas. So now what I want to do is I want to let it run through my 5 pillars that I think make or break the app. So starting with number 1, I want to confirm that there is a real demand. And how I do it is I do it basically the same way. So for example, we found an app that looks like it has potential. It really clicks with everything we want to make. So then what I want to do is I want to look for different terms, what people might be looking for or Googling for, where we could basically service the app, give them the app. That's what proves to me that there is either a very clear demand, and it also shows a keyword difficulty. So it not only shows you if there is a demand, but also how competitive that place in Google is. Number 2 is if there is a clear pain point, and this one is very underrated and super important. And why? Because whatever you do, however you're gonna market it, however you're gonna preach about the app, if you're talking about the people who have this pain point, then every video you're gonna put out, every ad you're gonna make, every email you're gonna send, first of all, it's gonna be easier because you're gonna know exactly what to address. And second one is you're gonna get much more engagement, much more conversions, and just everything is gonna just kind of click all together, because there's a very clear difference all the time between the apps that are solving a pain point and the ones that are basically trying to create a pain that doesn't really exist, maybe. Yeah. And number 3 is I want to know if I can actually build it super fast. Okay, so every app that I'm looking at, I want to be sure that everything I see, the whole app, like I can imagine it, I can imagine all the screens, It's not complex. The more minimalistic it is, the better. Also, because of two things, people just like minimalistic and easy to use things nowadays. No one has attention span to learn about things. And also, if you're not like a very professional coder and UX UI designer, then the more complex app gets, it's just gonna be messy. Like you're not gonna be able to make like another Netflix or make Duolingo, you know, like it just doesn't happen like this. So you want to find something that is very easy to understand for you, because if it's easy to understand for you, that there's a higher chance that your user will be able to understand it. Otherwise, you're just gonna put yourself through a lot of trouble. You're gonna waste a lot of time, and you're gonna put out a very complex app that no one knows how to use and no one understands. You will realize that even you don't understand how it works anymore. Number 4 is, can I grow it with content organically? So basically what this means is, because nowadays with AI, you can really automate a lot of stuff. You can automate a lot of videos, you can automate carousels on TikTok and all that. So because you can automate this kind of thing, you can just work on it once and then leave the engine running forever. Basically, that's also we recently noticed when we stopped the ads for one of my app. Basically, we've got the same amount of customers, and we realized that our organic content was bringing about the most amount of new users, and we were quite surprised, because we thought that because our videos are not going very viral, that they're not gonna materialize into any conversions or any traction. But the more videos you put out, it still gets views. Some videos are actually evergreen, so they keep on growing even after some time. So if it's something you can just do consistently all the time, you know, you can just get free traffic and free acquisition cost and be profitable from day one. Because for the app to have this kind of thing, it needs to have some kind of wow effect. So for example, apps that are alarms that you can only turn off when you do, for example, 20 push-ups. So one type of content that was really trending about this one app was a girl who was crying about that she needs to do another 20 push-ups to shut off her alarm. And because it's really funny, it goes very viral. But also, many people have the same problem, so they start to look for this app, and it just blew up. So yeah, that's what you want. You want something that's just good for TikTok, you know, not something you need to invent all the time. And basically, the product does the talking, you know, so you can have like a repeatable system of content. And last one is, can I grow it with search? So basically SEO. Also the same reason, because it's very automatable now. SEO for all my businesses run 24/7 without me being included into this department at all. You can automatically generate all the content, you can automatically generate all this SEO plans and find what to post about. So it doesn't have to be a necessity, especially with iPhone apps. It's a bit more rare to have a website with very well curated blog, because you kind of want to get traffic to the iPhone app and not to the website, but it's very possible. So if you can grow it with search automatically, like if you can have a programmatic SEO, then it will also help you tremendously. And that's really one of the big ways how we grow our apps as well. And the last one, which I know I said 5, but I like to tell you about the bonus pillar that I like to keep separate because it's a bit more personal, is how much this idea actually excites me. And there are 2 reasons why it's super important. So first one is that it will tremendously help you to stay consistent, because starting something always is exciting. A lot of things are popping up. You make the designs, you make the logos, you make the whole app kind of work. And yeah, it's all very interesting and it's very cool. But when you're at 80 or 90% done, then the real work begins, because finishing the app is so much more harder. And that's when being excited about the app helps tremendously. It gets tiring, it gets annoying, and it gets boring, and it gets mundane. So if the idea is something you're passionate about, really it will become 10 times easier for you, you know. And the second reason is, if you can be the potential and actual user of your own app, if you can actually solve something that you're dealing with, then it will be much more smooth for you to realize where to put everything. It will be much more smooth for you to come up with all the user experience, all the interface. Because imagine if you're myself, if I was making some app that would help me with, not me, but will help people with period tracking, it would be much harder for me to realize where to put the whole navigation, what's important, how to track this, how to track that, because I cannot really be the user. I don't know this pain. and for me it will be much more tough to actually map everything out, to test it out, and I would probably have to get some test users from at some point. But if I can be the user from day one, then it just becomes so much easier, because the truth is every app will have way more screens and way more connections than you initially think. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to get this whole system, to have this kind of document with all these ideas, you will find it below. And also now is a good time for you to subscribe, because I will be doing one of these apps in other videos. So I will show you also how I build it, how I approach the building, how I approach the marketing. Here you can see that the apps I've got were Hyrax training and race pacing apps, which I actually considered, but the more about it in the next video. So see you then.